Oh my gosh, do I even, like, read any books? Like, this is bad. Okay, we need to tackle this and get this figured out, and I think also the main thing is I need to probably stop buying books. Alright, let's get into it. Alright, hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tanya. Welcome if you are new. Oh, hello, Xena. Here's Xena, the warrior princess. Wishing hi. She's like, I'm getting out of here. So welcome to my channel. Like I said, if you are new here, today I'm doing a video that it's making me also feel slightly embarrassed because I realized that I have I even read anything? Because I feel like I have so many books, so I decided like to put all the books that are still on my TV, like to be read pile, that I haven't gotten to into a book cart, because I had one of these downstairs. My kids had one of them, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna use it. And I was like, maybe I'll just fill up like the first, maybe second. You guys, I feel like I'm gonna need another cart, like. And I'm like, this, I need to stop buying books. So I think I'm definitely gonna do like a book buying ban for a few months, and I need to read through my books and do that. So yeah, so follow along. This will be a little bit of like organizing my cards slash also seeing. Honestly, there's a lot of books that I've kind of acquired over the last couple months, and I will point out that a lot of my books I do also get for free from like at our local libraries. Thrifty tip, you guys know me. Check your local libraries, because a library near me, they have a lot that they're constantly rotating their collection, and so there's a lot of books that they will put out just withdrawn materials that are, you know, great reads, but they're totally free. And so that is a good way to kind of add to your pile. So that's my excuse also. I did not buy all of these. A lot of these were free, and then also a lot of them I do thrift. Yes, hello. I just want to hi. Do you want pets? No. Okay. All right, so let's get started. I don't even really know any particular order. I'm not going to hopefully take too long. I'll just kind of show you and put it on. And then my goal is, once I read, obviously, the book, then it will go on like my regular shelves, which I'm also still in the process of getting, hopefully, another shelf. My husband, I think, is going to make me another one. I'm obnoxious because I'm literally sitting here surrounded by books right now. Like I'm in a little circle of books. So let's see if they'll even fit all into the cart, but let's get into it. So I'll start with this because it's big and it's not even opened yet. I got this for Christmas, a duology, Six of Crows. Getting excited to read it. Hey guys, it is editing Tanya later, and I realized because long story short, tech issues, so I was filming on my phone and I flipped it around. So the books in the video are going to be backwards. So sorry about that. In my next video, we'll get it figured out and you'll actually be able to see things the right way. But right now in the video, you guys, it's flipped because I was in like selfie mode on my phone. Anyway, so just FYI, sorry about that. Kind of been newer into fantasy, heard a lot about this, so that's going in there somewhere. All right. Next, these are ones that again were library withdrawals. These are young adult, the next couple that I got. This one, what is this one? I don't even remember, but I was like, this sounds interesting. So there's a sunken city that was once Paris. All hope. Oh yeah, this is kind of like a dystopian one. So I thought this one sounded really cool. One that is, it's young adult, I believe. Yes. So it's kind of, or is it kind of sci-fi? Yeah, like young adult sci-fi-ish dystopian kind of thing. So I'm excited to add that in there. And hopefully in the months to come, you will see reviews on some of these. The next one that I have is the Apothecary. This one is also, again, a library withdrawal. It's a young adult one. It just says, a mysterious apothecary, a magic book, a missing scientist, an impossible plan. Right? Like, how could I was like, that sounds so good. Like, sounds so interesting. So there's that one. All right. Also, you will notice some of these I have already started, but I have not finished them because I'm a big mood reader and I constantly have, like, I think I've started like 30 books, but it's just how I read. I don't know if anyone else is like that. My husband, it drives him nuts because he will like start one book, read it all the way through like a nice organized person. He's like, okay, next one. Me, I can't. I have like 30 books that I've started and I'm just like all over the place. I hop back and forth depending on my mood. So if you're like me, I understand you. I think it makes sense. It's logical. All right, the next few were also from the library. This one is called The Piano Teacher. This is a more recent one. This one is historical fiction. It's based in 1942 during World War II. And so it's talking about, again, I'm not going to go into it, but that's basically the premise. Also, anything historical fiction, I love. Next one, also, I was really excited to find this one because I've been wanting to copy. It is The Daughter of the Deep, and it's by the same author who did the Percy Jackson series, which I'm also still reading through. But I found this one. This one was really interesting too, so I'm excited to have that one. Then the next one is also historical fiction. This one was a thrift store find recently. Again, it's World War II. I think just like at the beginning, like pre-World War II, but like it's coming. And it's talking about three different generations of a family. And just, it's based in Europe during World War II. And so it's supposed to also take place kind of like in Paris and also in Siberia. Like it jumps around different parts of Europe and different perspectives, so I'm excited. It seemed interesting. Next one, and you will see this one I haven't got hauled before, but this is a Kristen Hanna one because I'm just trying to get through reading a lot of Kristen Hanna books. She's one of my favorite authors. The next one that I also was a library find, like a library withdrawal, was, I believe this one is a young adult as well. It is called A Madness So Discreet. And it says, I'll just read you a little bit. It says, she keeps it locked away along with her voice, trapped deep inside a brilliant mind that cannot forget horrific family secrets. Those secrets, along with the bulge in her belly, land her in a Boston insane asylum. And when her voice returns in a burst of violence, Grace is banished to the dark cellars where her mind is discovered by a visiting doctor who dabbles in the new study of criminal psychology. With her keen eyes and sharp memory, Grace will make the perfect assistant at crime scenes. So I just think that has, like, it just sounded so different to me. And it sounds like it has so many crazy, like, different things that I have not heard before in a book. So I'm excited to check it out. The next three are also Kristen Hanna books. One I am partially through. It's The Four Winds. I love Kristen Hanna books. I feel she's one of those authors. She's one of my favorites that I always recommend. Even if you're not into like historical fiction, she kind of does a little bit of everything. So I really recommend her books. Fly Away, which I believe, is this the prequel or the sequel? I always get confused, to Firefly Lane, which I read that one. It's a show on Netflix. Book, of course, is better, but it's part of that series. And then this is another Kristen Hanna, If You Believe. So we'll just add her up on that card. Next one, you guys will see I love my historical fiction in World War II. This one is called The Boy Who Followed His Father into Auschwitz. This one was a thrift store find for $1.99. So I've heard a lot about this. It was recommended in my Goodreads, and it's a true story. And so this is, I think, a good way for me to read nonfiction that also is things that I'm interested in. So I'm trying to incorporate more nonfiction reads into my reading. So there's that. And then there's this one also. This one is not World War II, but this one is 1920s. And I believe it's supposed to be kind of like suspense, Sherlock Holmes-ish. And so, yeah, see, it says a novel of suspense featuring Mary Russell and Sherlock Holmes. I also am a big Sherlock Holmes fan, like Agatha Christie, all those things. So when I saw that, I was like, this seems interesting. I want to check it out. Okay, the next kind of a lot is just young adults books that I have not read yet, but I'm excited. So the first one is The Rangers Apprentice. I've heard a lot about this series. I know there's like a gajillion books. When I worked at the library, everybody, like, this was pretty popular. So I decided to get the first one. Have not started it yet, but excited to check it out, and hopefully it's really good. I love finding a good series and like being able to get sucked into it and have lots of books to keep me busy. Next one is also, I believe, a series. This one is Legend. I believe it's like a dystopian, which you guys know I love that. So I'm excited. I feel like I'm just going to say I'm excited a million times. I'll try not to say that. But you can tell I'm excited about each of these books. This one is a Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I'm about a quarter of the way into this one, but I kind of took a break. It's not that I hate it, but it's just, it wasn't, I guess it didn't suck me in as much as I thought it would. So my mood changed. So I haven't finished it yet, but I'm going to put it on my cart because I definitely want to. The next one is Front Desk. This is one my brother has read. This one, this is a good one. I haven't read it all the way. So again, it still needs to be finished. So I'll add it in there. The next one, this one is one also I found at the library. It's called Mosquito Land. I saw a lot of good reviews about it online. It just says her parents split up, her dad remarried and dragged her to Mississippi, and she finds out her mom is sick back in Ohio. So Mim picks up her life and catches a Greyhound bus to Cleveland. And I guess she just goes on this journey, and she just kind of meets like eccentric people on her journey there to back home, and just like confronting her own fears, it says, and things like that. So it just seemed like a really cool, almost like just like an adventure, maybe almost like self-discovery kind of thing. And it's young adult, so I wanted to check that one out. The next one, I'm really excited for this one as well, is Efren Divided. This one is also a young adult, I believe. It talks about it follows the story of a boy, and he is American born, but his parents, they are undocumented, and so just following their stories and kind of his fears surrounding his parents being undocumented and what that means for him. As an immigrant, I'm just really excited to read. I love reading books from immigrants' points of view as well, or refugees, sort of points of view. Is just, I'm excited for that. The next one is Scythe. Again, I've started, I think I'm a couple chapters into it, but I haven't finished it. I know this is, I believe, a trilogy, but it's kind of a dystopian. You guys can tell I love those kinds of books, and combining a lot of kind of interesting things that I know that this people are going to be like probably surprised that I have not read this. And I think maybe I started, but I never finished reading it. So I just want to, I don't remember it. It is The Book Thief, and this is like World War II, or is it World War II? Yes, World War II, and just the element of like books and I don't know if you guys have read this. I know people really love this book, but it's written, I believe, from the perspective of death, and so it just seems so interesting. It kind of almost makes me think of like the Scythe a little bit, and just like the just kind of almost like dystopian, but not, because it's also historical, like during World War II. So I'm just, I really want to get into that one as well. The next two are Frederick Backman books. You guys know he's one of my top authors. I have like Kristen Hand and Frederick Backman. Those are a few like my top 5 that I will always recommend. All of his books have been 5 out of 5 stars for me, and I just love him. He's one without fail that I will just buy, because I know I most likely will love it, because there's one that hasn't been one that I haven't. So there's Beartown, which I'm about halfway through, and then this one is Us Against You, which is the sequel to Beartown. So I'm gonna put those on there and finish those. Super good. Definitely recommend him. Next one is 2 parts out of a trilogy, I believe, but it is The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo and The Girl Who Played with Fire. I have the first and second. I believe it's the trilogy, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. I've heard a lot about this. I don't know how I feel about this, because it is a little bit different. I've heard it's kind of a little bit more dark, but it's kind of a thriller too. But I've wanted to branch out. I've heard a lot about the series. I know there's movies also, so I'm going to try and see how I feel about it. The next 2 are Agatha Christie, because I do love Agatha Christie. I'm trying to go through all her books. So I have The Mysterious Affair at Styles, which is book number 1 of the Poirot series. Even if you know, she has different detectives, and Poirot is one of the main ones. And this is book number 1 in his series. And then I have The Death on the Nile, which I just also watched the movie, but I want to read the book, so I do also have that as well. Next author that I have is also one of my favorites. She's one of my top 5. I really enjoy her books. I think she's technically classified as Christian fiction author, but I love her books because they're a combination of historical fiction, which I love, a little bit of mystery, so it's kind of like Jane Austen. She does kind of like period stories, like and so she does like they're around similar. I'm trying to think around what times, but all of her books are in similar. And so my husband got me some of these for Christmas. I really like her books. It's Julie Klassen. Again, I read a lot of hers that I really enjoy, and she combines, like I said, like kind of like a period romance, or like a little bit of historical fiction, a little bit of intrigue and mystery. So it's really good. This one is The Secret of Pembroke Park, and this one is The Bridge at Belle Island. Also a Minnesota author, so I was like, oh, that's super cool. Support someone local. Next one, I heard a lot about this one. It's a Reese Witherspoon's book club pick, and it is The Last Thing He Told Me. This one was also a library find, so I was really excited. I believe this is kind of like a mystery thriller. I've heard, again, good reviews, but we'll see how it goes. All right, this next book, which I have started, but surprisingly, and maybe people will be like, what? I have not gone through yet. It hasn't really gripped me where I can't put it down, but it is These Violent Delights. So again, this is one of my most favorite covers of books. I love this so much. I know it's been really popular, especially last year. It's a 1920s retelling of Romeo and Juliet. I like the premise. I've gotten a little bit into it, but not a lot. So I want to definitely get into it and get into it and get through it and tell you guys my thoughts and how I feel about it. And it's also the first one in a series. I have not gotten to this one yet, thus it's on this cart. But it is the Inheritance games. I am excited. Okay, wait, I said I wouldn't say that. I can't wait to read this one. Also, I've heard a lot of good things. People seem to really like it. I believe it's a trilogy, if I'm correct. I think the third one comes out, if it hasn't yet, later this year. Next one, and I am excited to find, this is a series, and Anne of Green Gables is my jam. It is my favorite. There's classics. I just am like, looking back at my childhood, like Anne of Green Gables is just like staple, and I loved watching all the shows, and like Gilbert, like, oh my gosh. And I just, I never made it through all of the books. And my mom, we have them in Russian, but I just never made it through the whole series, and I wanted to have it anyway, because it's just like, it's a classic. And I do hope to get a different kind of like box set, but I did come across these at the library, and I was like, sweet. And I didn't get all of them. It's 1, 2, 3, and 8. So I'm still on the hunt for some of the other ones, but I was really excited. So got these, and just, I love Anne of Green Gables. Anyone else? Like, it's just so good. Like, ugh. Anyway, it's just so good. I love it. It's just something about Anne. It's right here, and I love it. I love it so much. One, I should have done these way at the beginning, but along with the Six of Crows series, I also did get the Shadow and Bone. I'm reading the first one, so it's over by my nightstand. You guys, I have more books by my nightstand, but we're gonna pretend we're not gonna include them in this video, because I'm trying to make myself feel better that I actually do read something. So this one is I don't really know. Oh, this one, I think it's like this. So Season Storm, and then Rune and Rising. And I don't know, I'm feeling nervous because I know I've heard like people are like obsessed with the Grishaverse and everything, and I was really excited to read it, but I don't know. I hope I like it. So far I'm like, it's okay. I don't think I'm obsessed, but we'll see how the other ones, pan out, and hopefully they'll be good. The next one was also just a thrift store find. This one is called The Rosie Project. I believe this is a romance. It says fiction, but I'm guessing it follows the story of Don. He's a genetics professor. So he's planning on getting married. He comes up with this program that essentially, I think it's a questionnaire, but they look at your DNA and try to pair you with like the perfect partner for you. And supposedly Rosie is someone that I don't know if like she kind of, I don't know. She comes into the story, and I'm guessing it's a love story. Maybe not. I don't know. But it sounded interesting, just the idea of it. And, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like this whole dating concept and this survey and figuring out. And I don't know. It just seemed interesting. Next one I also have started, but only like a little bit. I know this is also a movie. This was recommended by a friend of mine. I know it was popular also years ago, but Gone Girl, I don't know, it's different. It's a thriller. I'm not normally into thrillers, but I'm kind of slowly getting into them. So, want to finish that one. Next few are also young adult that were library finds. So I was really happy about these. I was about to say excited. This one is called Song for a Whale. I want to say this one is middle grade, I believe. It's like junior. But it talks about, it just seems so interesting. I think I saw a few YouTubers last year on BookTube talk about it, and just the idea sounded really cool. It's about a girl named Iris, and I believe that she's like studying about whale. There's this whale, but she's also deaf. Iris is deaf, and she's learning about that apparently this whale is lonely, and he's not able to communicate and like with like how whales make sounds and things like that. And so this whale is unable to speak, and so she's kind of like understanding she can connect to him because her being deaf, just how she, in her school. And so just the idea of it sounded amazing, and anything with like oceans and like underwater also I'm interested in. So this just sounded like a really good story as well. One is also, I've never heard of this, but which I'm surprised, but it's by the same author who did Anne of Green Gables, so Ella Montgomery. And this one also just sounds interesting. It says here, it's the Dark Family versus the Penhallows in this daring and witty, sarcastic, and sentimental novel by the author of Anne of Green Gables. Supposedly there's like feuding families, possibly maybe some romance, like there's a mystery, intrigue, there's an inheritance, like that just sounds amazing. I just got this one a couple days ago from the library, and I found it. I was like, that sounds so good. So I'm excited to read that one. If you have, please let me know. I'm surprised I have not before. This one is also a young adult that just sounded interesting. It's called Trouble. And it just says, I'll quick read it too. It says, Hannah is 15. Hannah is pregnant. Hannah could really use a friend right now. Aaron is the new kid. Aaron is trying to escape his past. He's not succeeding. Aaron could also really use a friend right about now. Hannah, meet Aaron. Aaron, Hannah. And so I think essentially, and I saw on the back, it just says that basically this kid, Aaron, he just says like, I'll just say I'm the father of your baby. Like, is he not? And he just like, that's just what they're doing now. And so it just sounded like an interesting story, and just, I want to read more about it. So, hi. Are you judging me, my many books? No, you're a good girl. You wouldn't do that. So then the next few books are just kind of random. I know I hauled these a while ago because I remember sharing them in a haul video, so I won't go too much into detail. But they are just random thrift store finds that just sounded good and got me. This one is called The Book Charmer, and it's about a bookworm. I mean, again, anything right with like about books or with books, like how exciting. So this is about Dove, who's a bookworm, and just like so I don't know, something about that. And I think there's also an element of magic, a little bit of it, because it's like book charmer, and I believe that she has like a power to like help people find the right book for them or something like that. So that, there's that one. This one is called Beautiful Runes. I also just really loved the cover. It looked really cool. I had never heard of this book either, and it takes place on the Italian coastline in 1962. Like, that just sounds really cool. I believe it's a love story. It's also just one I came across. It says it's an international bestseller, so I don't know, I wanted to try it. It is called The Dutch Wife. It takes place in World War II, historical fiction, and it just says, I was inmate 21522, but I was determined not to be worn down, not to transform into one of the skeletons that moved through the camp like the living dead. And so I clung to Theo's memory with all my strength. So, yeah. I should probably do maybe a video one time sharing some of my favorite World War II reads, if you guys would be interested, because I know a lot of people also really enjoy reading that genre of historical fiction, and there's a lot out there, and I have read a lot of them. The next few, also I believe during, is this also during, yes, also during World War II. This one is All the Light We Cannot See. I was also trying to do the audiobook simultaneously. I've heard a lot of amazing things about this one. It won the Pulitzer Prize. It sounds amazing. And so I definitely want to get to this one hopefully soon. This next one is missing the cover, but it is The Hate You Give. It was a thrifted find. Again, I started it. I have not finished it. I want to read it. I've heard, again, really great things. I know there's also, I think, The Concrete Rose is the second one. I want to watch it or read it, and then I know there's the movie, I believe, on Netflix. So I want to watch that. These two are also just, I have like a little bit of random everything left over. But this one is The Little Paris Bookshop. Again, anything with books, also like Europe. It just sounds amazing. It says, Monsieur Perdue is a literary apothecary. From his floating bookstore, he has a floating bookstore, and he prescribes novels for the hardships of life. Like, that just sounds so good. And so there's supposedly a story that, you know, is embedded into that, and so it just sounds so good. Next one, it says it's part of a trilogy. Know nothing about this. I don't know. Give me your thoughts. I just came across this again when I was thrifting, and it's called The Taker. I just also really like the cover. I don't know. It says that it says true love can last an eternity, but immortality comes at a price. On the midnight shift at a hospital, Dr. Lou Finley is expecting a quiet evening until a mysterious woman arrives in the ER, escorted by the police. Lenore McIvra is a murder suspect, and Luke is inexplicably drawn to her. And there's like a story. So I don't know. It just sounded really cool too. It really got me. So I want to see how that turns out, and if it's a really good, because it says it's a trilogy. The next random one, this one is also part of the series. I read the first book. This is the second one, The Glass Sword. I don't know. You could see I got a little bit into it, and then I stopped. I don't know why that happens to me often with like dualities or trilogies. I just get like, I don't know. My brain just pauses, and I'm like, I need a break. Which I've taken a break for a while with this one, but I do definitely want to finish the series. And the next one is When It Calls the Heart. This is Janet Oki. I believe she's also considered like a Christian fiction author. But again, similar. I know there's a show about it on the Hallmark Channel, and it just there's this teacher, and she comes to this town. It's a whole series also, but I know it's been out for a long time. It's an older series, but I just wanted to read it and see if I liked it or not. And It's more of a devotional book. Again, I don't know. I just came across it. It sounded interesting when it's also like a biography. So it's kind of an interesting way. Again, you guys, I'm trying to read more nonfiction. And so it's called An Arrow Pointing to Heaven. And it's a biography about Rich Mullins. And he was a Christian singer and he passed away a while ago. But it just kind of seemed interesting. I wanted to read more about his story and who he was and just the synopsis of it. And it just sounded really cool, and like it kind of looks cool on the inside because there's different it combines like poems and songs and just like different things and stories from his life because it's also a biography, but it's like a devotional as well. So I don't know, that sounded really cool. This one was given to me, and I see my cat kind of chewed a little bit. This one is by Tim O'Brien. It's called The Things They Carried. And it is a powerful, it says, enduring work of fiction about men in war. And it's it's historical fiction, but it's obviously based, on real events of the Vietnam War and just the tellings of the soldiers who went to that war. And just, I think it's supposed to, again, based on real stories. So I want to see and learn more about that because it's a time in history that I feel like I haven't read as much about. So I definitely want to try this one out and see and hopefully learn more. Now the last one you can see I have started, but I took a little break also, is The Love Hypothesis. I know people really crave about this, or rave. People really rave about this one. So I want to, hopefully in May, I will get to this one and finish it. But yeah. You guys, I think that's it. Let me show you what the cart looks like now. Let's see. And actually, do we have space for more books? Like book haul? No, I'm just kidding. No book haul, but surprisingly not so bad. I'll show you guys. So this is pretty much full. Although some space here. The middle one is mostly full. There's a little bit of space though. And then the bottom, there's some space on there as well. But hope you guys enjoyed this video, and hopefully in the months to come, you will see me doing some reading and some reviews of some of these books on my cart. And maybe watching this video gave you some inspiration to maybe check out some of these books as well. But thank you so much for sticking around to this long video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, you guys.